Guys, welcome. On today's video, we're going to be talking about the art of appointment setting, the step-by-step guide on how to triple your booked sales calls and double your show rate if you're generating any type of lead from Facebook ads, Instagram ads, or Google ads, LinkedIn ads, the whole works. This video is going to tell you how you can get more people to show up on calls. So we're going to try and get good at appointment setting. It should probably be a good start to understand what is appointment setting. We're going to define appointment setting as taking a lead and booking them onto a call. We're going to really flourish at the skill of appointment setting, right? I think we're going to have to start here with the mind. We need to adapt a certain mindset for high performance, okay? The number one thing which is going to help you guys is understanding that appointment setting is a skill. It's not a given, right? Just because somebody signs up to say, hey, I want a consultation call with you, I want to jump on a phone call with you, they've become a lead, it does not mean that they're willing to trade their time to jump on that call with you. It is up to you. You are one of the biggest key factors in this whole thing, or whether you can nurture that person and raise their interest level and make them curious enough so they actually end up jumping on a call with you. You're going to have to take full ownership and accept full accountability that the leads are not crap. Right, one of the most common things that I get with people that haven't done this style of lead generation before is after a week, they get 30 leads that have signed up and 5 people come on the call and they go, oh, the leads are crap. No, the leads are not crap, right? It really does make no sense for someone to click on an ad, spend a few minutes filling out a form to say, oh, I want to have a consultation with you, I want to hear more about your product, right? If there wasn't some level of interest. So if you just assume that the reason these people aren't coming on the call is because of me, I'm not raising their interest, that way you're taking complete ownership. That way you're saying, look, this is something that I can control. And because I've accepted accountability, that means I have the power to change it. Number one thing that I see people, not get on well with lead generation is when they play the blame game, right? They're quick to blame the ad, they're quick to blame the CRM, they're quick to blame everything but themselves when things go wrong. And that way we're just like a turtle on its back, just complaining that we can't do anything, which is not going to be the case. Manage your expectations, okay? When that lead comes in, we're so eager and we're so excited to tell them about how good our service is or our product that we want to sell to them immediately. That person definitely does not want whatever you're selling right now, right? You're just a stranger off the internet. Focus on the next correct step, right? The goal isn't for them to necessarily buy from you straight away. The goal is for you to jump on a call and make sure they feel like you understand what their problems are, allocate a better time to speak to them and get that in more depth. That way you're going to be much more likely to build a relationship. And the final thing, just know that your work ethic is really going to determine your success from this, right? As we're going to come on to later on in the video, we give you a whole CRM system packed with automations, right? But if you're just the type of guy that's open to doing the bare minimum, you're too busy to do anything and you just got to solely rely on the automations, right? That will guarantee failure. This is not something that you cannot play your part. You are going to have to put the work in and not just rely on AI and automation. So where does appointment setting even come into our funnel, all right? So this is kind of a very simplified overview of what 99% of people's funnel will look like, okay? So at the top, we've got the lead gen. This is when we run an ad, okay? And we're going to define lead generation as when a stranger gives you their contact details in exchange to get your offer, which is probably a free consultation or they want to hear more about your service. The next step in your funnel is the appointment setting, right? You need to get in touch with the lead and set the most convenient time for them to call. Where a lot of you go wrong is that you'll just get the lead straight away and try and sell to the lead, which is definitely not what you should be doing, okay? The next step is the discovery call, the discovery sales. You're increasing the lead's interest, making sure that they fit your criteria, making sure you really understand their problem and they know that you really understand why they're looking for a solution. You give them the information, they probably want to go away and think about it, and then you schedule up a follow-up call. And that brings us on to the last stage, which is the closing call. It is extremely unlikely someone is going to buy off you off their first interaction with you. So if you structure it in this way, by their second or third call with you, that's when you say, right, I think we got a solution. They've got a relationship with you. You are far more likely to sell. Okay. Now that we have a better understanding of our funnel, let's translate some of the most common problems that I hear prospects say. If you're someone that's sat there and saying, oh, I don't have anyone to sell to, right? You have a lead generation problem. You need people to sign up to an ad, which they can have low interest to, and that's when you get them in the door and allow yourself to nurture and then have more people to sell to. The leads aren't coming onto the calls, right? That's nothing to do with your ad, right? That's an appointment setting problem. Or people say the leads are rubbish. Lead quality is a byproduct of your discovery calls. Leads are probably not that bad. You're just not nurturing their interest level correctly. And then the last one, the leads aren't converting, the leads aren't buying. That's probably because your sales process and your closing sales process needs a little bit of work. The number one factor is if you're going to put more people onto sales calls and have more opportunities to sell and make money, is if you can respond to a lead within 5 minutes, right? That's when they're excited. That's when they know who you are. That's when they've actually kind of initiated the first step of the sales process by acknowledging that they have a problem and they're looking for a solution. And even if you're someone with super good work ethic, right? The problem with you is that you're a human being. You know, it's very difficult for you to multitask. You sleep, you get sick, you go out for nice dinners, you watch Love Island, right? You are not the best person to do this. You kind of got two options. You either need to hire someone in-house, which, you know, you probably don't want to pay someone 25 grand a year that can barely be asked to get out of bed and is lazy and wants to stop work at 5 p.m. Or you use AI, you use automations, and that's what we do. What I'm about to demonstrate to you is how we use the CRM system that we give all of our clients. And we use a variation of Go High Level, but we make it fully bespoke. And here's an example of how we use it. So this automation here is what happens when someone becomes a new lead, right? So when someone sees your Google ad, your Facebook ad, your Instagram ad, they click on, they fill out their details, bang, they come through into this automation and you don't have to do a thing. Okay, so our system is going to wait 5 minutes to make it look, realistic. You don't want to send reply to people within 10 seconds because then they know it's a robot. People will ignore you if they think it's a robot. And then it pings them a text message, right? We had a few variables here, so it writes their name. Hey, just checking I'm through to John Smith. It's Cobi here, one of the advertisers from Cura Marketing. Just getting back to you to say that you signed up to a free consultation call to see whether we can help you get more customers for our marketing. We'd love to share some ideas with you that'd be worth your time. Are you free later today or tomorrow? If that guy does not reply, and you need to hit people up with lots of different types of outreach, text, email, WhatsApp, right? The next day, our system knows, boom, boom, and it will send him another message. Write it quite informal. Just checking if you got my last message, you stood up for a chat. And I mean, look at the depth you've got, right? Our system, we do it in a way where they get continuously text, email, WhatsApps for a 7-day period. Obviously, that's the back end that you don't particularly need to understand, right? But we also map out in your opportunity section within our CRM all of your sales process, right? Just for this video, we're going to be focusing on these 4 things, okay? So you generated the lead and you don't have to feel pressured that, I need to be working in the evening, I need to be on it, right? Because the automation is kind of taking care of that. But they will appear in this new lead section, okay? A new lead section is when don't worry, they're being WhatsApped, they're being texted, they're being emailed. When someone actually responds to our automations, okay, that's when they become an engaged lead. Right, and they would automatically move from new lead to engaged lead without you doing anything, and you would get a text message saying, congratulations, you've got to engage lead, make sure you respond right now. Come into this system, and you want to know what this engaged lead has said. In order to do that, you would select this button like a message icon, and it will pull up a conversations tab. Here's a good example of what the messages will look like. Okay, as you can see here, Brian, in this example, has got quite a few automated messages. He didn't reply to the first 5, 6. And then he goes, hey, Cobi, thanks for your message. I can do tomorrow afternoon. In that scenario, you would just message him back to confirm the time in that afternoon. And then you would simply do this. You would click on the calendar icon here, add appointment, example lead 15. You would book in for the free consultation or the discovery call, okay? And you would put the agreed time. So he said the afternoon. Let's pretend that we got back in touch with him and he said he wanted to do 2:30. And you would simply click book appointment. When you click book appointment, as you can see, the lead automatically moves into discovery call booked. And when they're in this section, right, we've set up an automation because the number one thing, again, that makes people come onto calls is you have to remind them. So the second you've booked someone in for a call, our system automatically moves them into that section and it's going to be giving them the following reminders, okay? We'll send them a text and an email confirming that they've booked in. And 24 hours before the appointment, it will get a text and an email. 6 hours before the appointment, they get a reminder. 1 hour before the appointment, reminder. And 2 minutes before their appointment, they get a reminder. We've done loads of split tests on this. This is best practice. If you think it's excessive, obviously you can tailor it down, but this tends to be the best way. In the event, it's the day of the call and example lead 5 hasn't turned up, right? Obviously, I would try and call him to make sure he's available, but let's pretend he's not here. I don't have the bandwidth, and you guys don't have the bandwidth to be blowing people's phones up, chasing all the time. You might, give them a call and you might text them the next day, but that's probably going to be it, which isn't good enough, okay? So you need to let an automation take care of that. In order to do that, you would just simply drag and drop the prospect and tell the system that he's ghosted the call. And the system would then put them to another automation, which looks like this. Look at the depth, the next day they get sent a text and an email and a WhatsApp chasing them the following day. I mean, they've got so many more opportunities to actually get back in touch, because just because somebody doesn't come to the call, right, it doesn't mean that they don't want it. There could be a number of reasons, okay? So we let the automation do that so you don't have to spend your time texting people and blowing people's phones up. If you ever wanted to track your progress, obviously we give you a 24-hour dashboard, all right, for all of our clients, so you can see how many leads you've got and how many opportunity values, how much work have you actually quoted. We don't necessarily track conversions through this, not many of our clients do, but you can actually have an overview of your funnel, so you can see it. In this example, this client, 190 new leads, right, and out of those leads, 180 of them actually responded to our automation without them kind of doing anything, and out of those 180 people, they booked in discovery calls for 140 people, so their call rate is 72%, which we're going to go through in more depth in a sec, okay? But that's kind of an overview of how our automations will work. So let's talk about what your manual actions are going to be, okay? So when you've got a new lead, when a prospect has come in straight away, you're going to get a text confirming that congratulations, you've got a new lead. Remember, you don't have to stress out that much because there are automations happening. So I don't need you to text, I don't need you to WhatsApp, I don't need you to email these people. But understand that different types of people respond differently to different types of outreach. So under that principle, which is true, we need to cover all bases, okay? There are some people, which is very dependent on the type of job that they have, that just simply don't respond to text, don't respond to emails, don't respond to WhatsApps. And it doesn't mean that they're not interested. They may have just entered the wrong details, or they're just not the type of person that replies. So because they're going to stay in that automation for 7 days before moving to reactivation, which is something for another video, you need to cold call these people every day whilst they're in that 7-day kind of window. You don't want to blow their phone up, right? Because the reality is, if somebody can't be asked to reply to a text, they probably don't want what you're selling. But I would recommend that every day between the hours of 10 a.m. and 1 p.m., which is the optimal time, you just cold call every single person in your new lead list. So let's pretend a lead has actually responded to one of the automations, and now they've become an engaged lead. Remember, an engaged lead is when somebody has responded to the automation. There is no automation in this column, okay? The engaged leads require all your manual action and attention. Make sure you check whatever they're saying in the conversations, right? Although you are saying when's the best time to call, not all of the time people do actually respond saying a time. They just be quite vague, like, oh, I'm free later on. Yeah, text them in between, or if you can even avoid texting in between, I would just recommend calling them up and being like, hey, you responded saying you're free in the afternoon. I know now you're probably crazy busy. Can we call you back at 2 o'clock later today and get it booked in, right? What you don't want to do is engage too much in text, right? It's so tempting. Like, these people may ask you questions, right? And you really don't want to handle any type of objection or get into information exchanging over text. Reason being is because if you respond over text to that stuff, it's very black and white. Yeah, you have no opportunity to objection handle. So if you say something that they don't like or they misinterpret, they're just going to leave and you have lost your opportunity to make the sale. What you would be better off doing is saying, hey, yep, I know that's probably a question you're going to have. I'm going to need more time to get back in touch with you with that. Can we do it on a call? And then if you say something that you don't like, you can kind of then claw it back by objection handling. So if you are going to text these people, you should be using text to booking the time to actually then give them the proper value call. In terms of your actions for the engaged leads, every day you should prioritize calling these engaged leads daily, right? Call them once or twice a day. Reason being is that these people have expressed a high interest because they've seen your ad, they've signed up, they've got a text, they said, yep, I am interested. These are the people you need to be focusing on. First thing I'll be doing every single day is getting the CRM system up, looking at your engaged leads. I would cold call them. I wouldn't even bother texting them. I would cold call them. And then if they don't respond, that's when I would engage with a text in order to appointment set. So a good question probably a lot of you are thinking is, well, instead of backing and forth about when's a good time, why don't you just send them a calendar link? And although this sounds like a good option, we've done tests on this, there is a significant drop if you give people a calendar link instead of suggesting a time. And the reason for this is like there's a barrier to sale that you can create, which is called task setting. If you want to give a good service, you need to avoid setting people tasks and giving them homework. Me and you might understand that a calendar link, yep, it takes literally 2 seconds to fill that out. John Smith, who might not be very tech savvy, he doesn't know that it's that fast and that convenient to do. And maybe because he's so excited about your service and he thinks it's important, he wants to allocate the correct time and he doesn't have his calendar on him at this moment, right? So he's like, right, I'm going to make sure I've got all this information. I'm going to do it later. And unfortunately, later never comes. You know, don't be so arrogant to think these people are just sat around thinking about when you emailed them yesterday and they're going to book it in. And, you know, that might actually cost you that call and therefore use you the sale. So to provide a better level of service, you should handle any of the administrative tasks associated with booking a call for your clients. And I would avoid sending calendar links. So when we are booking these people in for discovery calls, there are a few non-negotiables that you need to make sure. Make sure that you have your calendar up. This is such an amateur mistake, all right? Have your calendar pulled up on your phone or on another window and just make sure that you can actually see the slots. Unfortunately, with the CRM, there is kind of a glitch, right? Which if you book people in without having your calendar pulled up, it might show that 10:30 is available and you book them in for 10:30 because it's showing as one of the available slots. But in fact, that is actually booked. There's nothing that we can do about that, all right? So be a professional. Make sure you're checking your work. I'm going to book Ryan here as an example, right? I go into the CRM. I click this last little icon. It's like a calendar with a plus, okay? We're just going to say add appointment. And then make sure you book them in for the right calendar. We have lots of different automations that have different calendars, discovery calls, sales calls, additional meetings, right? We'll probably end up building a lot of them for you. Make sure you're booking the right one. So in this scenario, discovery call for Cura Marketing. You're checking the day, you're checking the time, and then you book him in. What's the time between when you're getting that person on the phone and then booking them in? Does it actually matter? It is insanely important, okay, that you follow these best practices. When you're first getting someone on the phone and an appointment setting, ideally, you book them in for the same day. Because the longer time there is between the meeting, that allows for more things to pop up, more things to go wrong, more other things to take priority, and it massively decreases the chance of them signing up. They also forget who you are, and the lead will become more cold. The best time is the second they respond saying, hey, yeah, I'm interested, bang, how soon can we get you in? So you should be looking to put them in at the closest time possible. If they can't do the same day, or perhaps the calendar is full, you try and book them in for tomorrow. It's quite risky not booking them in for the following day. I would highly recommend no longer than 48 hours, ideally not even 48 hours. If you are booking people in for calls 48 hours in the future, more than likely they are not going to show up, and that would be your fault as the appointment setter. So let's pretend we've put the discovery call in, right, and the lead hasn't turned up for whatever reason. Now, it is not the responsibility of the appointment setter, if you guys are outsourcing this, to move the lead, to tell the system that they haven't showed up to the call. The person taking the call, it is their responsibility to move the lead and say that they didn't come. Let's pretend example 15 doesn't come to the call. I simply would just drag and drop the lead and put them in to discovery call ghosted, right? It's not hard. If you can't keep this CRM super neat, then you probably don't want to win bad enough. It's important to note that just because somebody doesn't attend a call, it doesn't mean that they're not interested. Like, they should be cold called every day alongside the automation, because something might have just popped up. You know, the fact that they did say, hey, I do want this call, shows that there is a real interest. If they respond to one of the automations and not one of your cold calls, let's say, they would just move back in to engage lead by itself. Okay, so you wouldn't have to do any manual stuff, right? So again, best practice for this is just once a day, literally call all of the leads in the discovery call ghosted section. I'd recommend, again, calling between optimal hours, which is 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. You don't need to text these people. You don't need to WhatsApp them. You don't need to email them, because the automation is going to be doing this. So in an ideal world, you've got loads of time. You're calling all the engaged leads, all the discovery call leads, all of the new leads, doing it every single day. And that's what you should be doing for best practice. But realistically, there are going to be days when you're a little bit short on time. So let's not treat all of these leads the same. Let's kind of put a priority ranking, okay? So as you can see, I've kind of created a podium, right? If you only had time to do one column of leads to cold call, right, I would recommend doing the engaged leads. They take first place. That's just because they've probably got the highest interest. You know, it's their first time contacting you. They've responded saying they are interested, and you didn't need to do any manual chasing to book the call in, okay? So these are going to be most likely where you're going to find your biggest wins. Second to that would be your discovery call ghosted people, right? They did show interest. They did say that they wanted to have a call with you and revalidate their interest. They might have just been busy for whatever reason, or maybe they just didn't prioritize it that high. So I'd kind of put them as like medium level interest. And then in last place, but still good, would be your new leads, right? They obviously don't value it high enough to respond to the automation. They might be busy. So look, we'll give them benefit of the doubt, but they would kind of take the bronze medal if you had to pick out of all these three. Example framework, or an SOP, standard operating procedures, which I would get you guys to follow, or you can give this to whoever is going to be doing your appointment system, is make sure between the hours of 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. they're blocked out every single day during the week to schedule appointments in every day. Remember, it's the call that brings you guys the money. You actually delivering the service and make sure that, you know, you satisfy your customers and they don't come asking for a refund. Yeah, but it's the call that brings the cash, so this should be prioritized. When you're on top of this, it might not even take you the full 2 hours because, you know, there'll be less and less leads in that section because you're booking them in. You should download the app Lead Connector and check your phone as frequently as possible, right? Get the app of our CRM system, which we give to all of our clients. And through the app, when someone actually responds to one of your automations, you see it in real time and you can click a couple of buttons and book them in. And in regards to your daily tasks, right, you should be prioritizing the engaged leads. Within your CRM system, within those columns, check your engaged lead sections every day. Check the conversation histories and call them. You should call them first, like obviously responding to kind of their text, but on the phone. And if they don't answer, that's when you engage with text. But don't text them giving them information or anything. The whole purpose of this is just to lock in a better time for them to speak on the phone. Number two, you'd cold call all of the people in the discovery call ghosted section. You don't need to message these people because there's automations. Just give them a call once a day. And the same would be for the new leads, right? Again, you don't need to message them. Just cold call them, okay? So as you will find out, if you're doing any type of kind of cold calling, even though these people have consented to messaging you, some people can be very rude, right? Or maybe they respond to your automation saying, hey, leave me alone. I have no idea who you are. Get me out, right? If it is that obvious, this is how you remove leads from the CRM system. Pull up the CRM and let's take example 13, right? I've cold called him. He said, mate, I haven't got a clue who you are. Leave me alone. You would just simply click delete and he would be deleted once you refresh the screen. Another thing that can happen is a lead doesn't say, look, leave me alone, I 100% don't want it. They might just say, hey, look, I'm not looking right now, I've got it all sorted, right? There is a very big difference between someone saying, look, please never contact me again, saying, oh, I'm not actually interested in right now. Because, you know, you don't really want to delete any of these leads because you have paid for them. So in that scenario, like, let's just use Ryan as an example. You would drag and drop him and go all the way to the end. And there's a section called reactivation. You would leave him in there. And we will use that to create remarketing flows if you're one of our clients, or you should be hitting these people up maybe every month or so, just with email marketing campaigns, nurturing their interest, give them a call maybe at a later date to see if they want to come back in. When you're on these calls, right, it is a fight, it is a battle where you are going to have to objection handle. People don't tend to like being disturbed, and they will say the following things to get you off the phone. I'm just going to share with you the ones that I've wrote for our agency. Prospect says, I can't talk right now. Oh, 100%. Look, I know now is probably a super bad time. My job is actually just to see if you've got a spare 20 minutes tomorrow morning. I could definitely share some ideas that might help you. Are you free at 10 a.m. or 2 o'clock tomorrow? If they say, I'm not interested anymore. Oh, really? Because I just checked you guys out and I can actually see you're currently not running ads. That probably means you're getting all your customers from like referral or word of mouth. And that is good. But if you're trying to double what you're doing, then that is going to be very tough. Are you opposed to seeing another way of doing it? I'll let you know the best time later on if that's okay. Yeah, man, 100%. That sounds good. What I'm going to do, I'm going to provisionally book us in for 2 o'clock tomorrow. That way, I'll definitely just have time to speak to you. And if anything changes in the meantime, you can just ping me a message. I don't remember signing up. Who are you? No problem, man. You actually signed up for a free consultation call via one of our social media ads. Long story short, we work with service businesses like yourself and we help you get more customers, essentially providing you an infinite amount of inbound inquiries. I can definitely share some ideas that might be worth your time. I actually did some research on you before. Are you free later today or tomorrow? These are the ways that I can just reel off the cuff to handle those baseline objections. A useful activity for you guys to do would be to actually write, can you create a kind of sales script that you can give to your appointment setter, or if it's yourself, just get it there, because in the heat of the moment, you know, you don't want to freeze. Like, answer all of these 4 objections for your business. What are you going to say if they say they can't talk right now? What are you going to say if they're no longer interested? What are you going to say if they say, I'll let you know a time? What are you going to say if I don't remember signing up to this? Who are you? Okay, handle the big 4 and have a framework ready so you don't stop. So when you are cold calling to appointment set, okay, I'm going to give you my best practices. Now, I've done this for many years and I've made hundreds of thousands from these type of cold calls, okay? And these are the things that I think if somebody told me these at the start, I would have made hundreds of more thousands from the get-go. The most important thing is the timing that you book the call, okay? So remember, we want to book these people in for the same day, ideally, or if not, the following day. You're doing this to keep the lead hot. If you book it in, you know, anything after 48 hours, I don't think this will go very well for you. The most powerful weapon that you're going to have is the ability to generate curiosity, okay? People answer, stay, and book calls because they're curious. So I like using lines like, oh, hey, you signed up to one of the social media ads. I actually did some research on one of your companies. I could defo share some ideas that might help. I could defo share some ideas that could help, right? That sentence alone makes them think, oh, what are those ideas? I want to hear what that is. You're using FOMO to your advantage. Create scarcity. So make the opportunity feel scarce to increase its perceived value. Hey, John, just to let you know, this is actually the last week they're offering these free consultation calls. Hey John, congratulations, you're actually one of the first 10 people that signed up to the ad, meaning we can give you this voucher. If you can't redeem it by Friday, no problem, but we are going to have to pass it to someone else. Don't give deadlines and parameters and stuff. People will take as long as they want. You need to say, look, the deadline is this, and you can do that by using scarcity. This is quite a funny one, but it generally does work. I use this in real life as well. Is always agree and then guide. So for an example, let's pretend you're on a call with John Smith and he goes, hey, sorry, I can't talk. They're really busy, right? And you want to diffuse that objection by agreeing and acknowledge that now might not be a good time, because that will lower his guard. So you get on the call, John Smith, hey mate, I need to go. I'm literally in the middle of something. I can't talk right now. Oh yeah, of course, man. I know you're crazy busy. Look, I just wanted to see if you've got 20 minutes tomorrow. I've got a slot at 1 o'clock. Does that work? So I've actually agreed with him, acknowledged that he's crazy busy. So he's like, oh, okay, this guy understands. And then I've just pitched him a time anyway. And you would be really surprised at how well that works. So defo give that one a go. That's probably my favorite one out of this list. Next one, offering options for scheduling, being proactive. The worst thing you can say is, when would be a good time for us to take this consultation, or when are you free, right? That's awful, because what you're essentially saying is, right, I need you to go through your calendar in your brain, and where you've probably got a billion things on, and tell me when the best time would be. It's a very overwhelming task for me to kind of go through and check my whole week, my whole month. If you just say, that sounds good, are you free at 10 a.m. tomorrow or 4 o'clock tomorrow? You gave me 2 different times at 2 different times of the day. Likelihood is someone might be a morning person or an afternoon person, so they can pick between that. And now also I've just got to think, what am I doing at 10? What am I doing at 4? It's less overwhelming, and that will drastically increase your number of book calls. To avoid taking the discovery call immediately. If you do cold call someone and they're free, they might try and do the consultation with you there and then on the spot, but you need to avoid doing this at all costs. If I cold call you when I signed you up to work with us, okay? You may speak to me, right? And I can give you some good knowledge and I can help you. But the problem is, it's extremely unlikely that that person is going to be in the right frame of mind to advance in your sales process. The goal isn't to get someone to answer the phone, right? The goal is for you to get that person to answer the phone, for them to be sat down, giving you undivided attention when they're in the right frame of mind to talk marketing or talk aesthetics or talk dentist or something like that, right? You put that person in at 3 o'clock, they're going to be getting these text and email reminders by the automations, and they know, right, at 3 o'clock, I'm ready, I'm in the right state of mind now, I'm speaking to the marketing guy. Their mind is on marketing and they're ready to talk marketing, and that'd be the same for what you guys are doing too. Don't take the discovery call on the spot, put them in for a more appropriate time to speak. There's probably a bit of controversy on this one, but I think best practice is talking in an informal tone. Most people cannot stand these corporate idiots that speak in fancy tones and like say words that they really just don't speak like in real life. You know, when you're almost too professional. Something that actually increased my conversions, when I just try and speak to someone like how I would speak to one of my friends, I specifically, and this is just me, it will vary a little bit obviously depending on your brand voice and how professional you need to look as a company, right? For me, I intentionally say words like man, I call you mate on the call to try and diffuse you. So, hey man, it's Cobi from Cura Marketing. I just wanted to see when the best time would be. I know you're probably crazy busy now. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do, mate, is I'm going to book you in at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Like, I'm trying to make you feel like we're just down the pub talking about the best way for you to win. And you're going to have to put your own style on that, but I would highly just recommend trying to speak to them how you speak in real life and like you're speaking to a friend. This one is kind of more important for your discovery calls and your sales calls, but don't overlook how important it is to build rapport. That person needs to like you or they won't want to speak to you. That person doesn't get good vibes off you, they're not even going to work with you, even if you can actually help them. Go a little bit easier on the ejection handling, be light-hearted, don't be afraid to laugh on the phone, or show a bit of personality there, because it's important that they do vibe with you. The best way of doing that is to be charismatic and to be positive. Your energy over the phone is noticeable. Picture these 2 scenarios. Hello, just checking I'm through to John Smith. Hi, it's Cobi here from Cura Marketing. You signed up for a consultation call. Look too professional and too monotone. Like, hey, is this John Smith? John, it's Cobi here from Cura Marketing. How you doing, man? Look, I got your inquiry over my desk. I just see that you're looking for help with your social media ads. Are you free tomorrow at, say, 1 o'clock? Definitely share some ideas that'll help you. Energy, yeah? People want to feel that. And the final thing, I touched on it at the start of the video, but it is massive, so I wanted to touch on it again at the end, is to take ownership. Take full accountability for the success of your appointment setting, right? You can just accept everything is your fault, right? That means that you have the power to change it. The people that this doesn't go well for, the arrogance levels are ridiculous. Like, I will see people that have a funnel that says, right, we've got 50 leads in here and only 3 people came onto a call, and they think that's an advertising problem. Like, how arrogant is that? Do you know what I mean? Like, that is your fault, guys. Make sure that's not you, guys. Put in the work, follow the best practices, and force yourself to succeed at this. Because I'm telling you now, the best salespeople in the world, they can convert the leads that you're complaining about. One thing which might help you if you're someone that maybe you just haven't done enough reps of these calls yet, because you will get better the more that you do, is if you just write a script, right? I'm not a particular fan of this because I think that off the cuffness can actually help you build rapport. But this might help, okay? So if you were going to write one, this is an example that you can kind of steal. Hey, just checking on through to John Smith. My name is Cobi. I'm one of the advertisers from Cura Marketing. You signed up to one of our social media ads saying that you're interested in us maybe run some ads for you. I know now is probably a crazy bad time. I just wanted to see if you're around for 20 minutes tomorrow. Could defo share some ideas that would be worth your time. I've got a slot at 10 a.m. or 12 o'clock. Do any of those work for you? That's just an example of a basic script, okay? Obviously, you'd add in the pauses there depending on the responses. So what's the hygiene standard, okay? Hygiene standard is, setting yourself a benchmark of what good looks like and what crap looks like, okay? So number one spot, if you want to win the trophy, if you want to be a high performer, you should be booking in 90% of the leads, right? 90% of the leads that come in, you should convert them to getting on a call. Not a sale, but getting on a call. That's the way that you're going to give yourself the best chance to win. The silver medal, if you're someone that's good, is if you're booking between 80 and 90%. I would say that this is pretty average, and that way you're allowing your ads to work, okay? But if you are someone that's doing 75% and under, you are lazy, you are unskilled, or you're time poor, and you should be fired, right? You should essentially outsource this to someone that's got the adequate time to do this properly. If you actually want to check what your hygiene rating is for appointment setting, you can do that within our CRM like this. This client, if you go through, right, you can see that their booked call rate is 72%, okay? Not great, right? With a little bit more effort, they could easily bump that up into the 80s, and that's when, that ads would start performing better. Make sure you're keeping score, guys, right? This is competition. The only people that don't like keeping the score are the people that know that they're probably losing, all right? So don't kid yourself on the level is. Make sure you know your numbers and give yourself the opportunity to do better. Guys, as always, thank you for watching this video. If you've made it this far, just know that you deserve a massive round of applause. You're investing in your skill sets. You're investing in giving yourself the best opportunity to win, and I hope you took some value from this. If there is anything that I can be proactive with, feel free to reach out to me directly, and I'll be more than happy to give you some more information about the CRMs. If you're watching this video and you don't have the CRM that we've set up, right, all you need to do is get in touch via the Cura Marketing website, and we can get you on a free discovery call with one of our experts, or if you're one of our clients, message in one of our 24-hour WhatsApp chats, and I can go through some more training with you if you are even more wanting to develop your skills. Till next time, guys, big thank you.